Hi there, welcome back to the channel and to this week's Owl Diary. Hi there, hope you're well, and today, in this week's video, I'm going to be showing you a very different bird to what we normally have. This one here is Diego, and Diego is a 2-year-old southern white-faced owl. He's not mine, he belongs to Steph, one of my falconer friends, and I've just come to visit her today here in West Yorkshire, and she's let me do a little video with Diego just to show you what is a very different species of owl. The thing that stands out the most is probably the eyes there. Amber coloured eyes aren't particularly unusual for owls, but against this white and grey, they really do stand out. Another feature the white-faced has are these fantastic whiskers that it has around the beak there. And he is quite a small bird as well, and he weighs about 6 or 7 ounces. And in falconry and in owl work, if you like, it is one of the species that people go for. For a small bird, it's much easier to fly than, say, a very small Scops owl or even a little owl, simply because their flying weight will be quite small and the room for manoeuvre is quite small. Whereas the white-faced owl, a bit like the burrowing owl I have, they're quite renowned for having the ability to keep their flying weight in kind of the right place. They're not too difficult to manage in that respect, and so they can be rather good flyers. Now, we were hoping we could have flown Diego here today, but the problem with Diego is he gets easily distracted by other birds like seagulls and crows, and there were lots of them around here. So there we go, the white-faced owl. Used to be known as a white-faced Scops owl, reclassified some years ago, not as an official Scops owl anymore. It is just the white-faced owl. Absolutely stunning. So, after a bit of windy sounding footage there, we've now got me in a rather wet, rainy sounding footage. I've just got back from a display and it's now raining, but it was dried in the day, so that's lovely. So I'm going to put the birds away shortly into the aviaries and things. The ones I've had, make sure they're all fed. The others were fed and flown this morning. But I'm going to very quickly do what I've got at the moment and the opportunity, the falconry term of the week.
The falconry term of the week.
So yes, each week I'm going to have a new word or phrase that we use in the world of falconry and birds of prey. And this week it's the word cast, to cast. And it has 4 different meanings in falconry, so it's quite a commonly used word. So we have to cast a bird off. When we're flying the bird free, we cast it off the hand. It's also used to explain when we have a group of birds flying together in a cast, so a cast of hawks, for example. The third one would be to cast a bird, as in to wrap it round in a towel or even a casting jacket to inspect it, maybe to cope its beak, check its feet, or do some kind of procedure like that, so to cast the bird. And the fourth one is when an owl or a bird of prey regurgitates that pellet. That's to cast the pellet. So there we go, the word cast. Right, so from this rather wet evening, onto a school now with a very special Harry Potter theme. Well, it's another day and another event, and here I am in a school in Rotherham for their Harry Potter event. It's a special award ceremony, and I've been donned in some additional clothing here. I'll be holding the eagle owl. We've got one of the teachers dressed up, I think, as a werewolf, holding the burrowing owl, and they're going to be doing the award ceremony. And then at the end, I will be flying the barn owl and the hawk, of course, because it was very impressive in the school hall here, which looks a little bit like that. So it's going to be really exciting. Oh, it's gone a bit quiet. I better get on with the work. Well, the session is finished, and what a fantastic idea, what a fantastic event. Essentially, every single child in year 7 is in one of the groups, but they have the groups in schools where they compete against each other, and each one at a time, put the hat on, which is this hat just here, and a man essentially behind the screen with a microphone just doing the voice of the hat. And of course, they put them onto groups. That was fantastic. I held Ollie throughout the whole thing. And then, of course, we did the flying with the barn owl and then the Harris hawk, which really did impress the kids. And the best bit was when Jed landed on this behind me. He then inadvertently gripped onto one of the scarves and he carried it right across the seating to where I was stood at the top there. And then, of course, landed. I put the scarf around my neck and they used the old joke, oh, well, I've trained him to steal things now. So the kids thought it was amazing. The teachers loved it. And it's been just a really fun event. So I'm going to pack up now and get back and see what else the day brings. It's time to introduce you to another one of our exotic animals who we take to schools and events to educate people about different types of animals. And this is one of our reptiles. This is Donny, our Herman tortoise. Now, there are 49 different species of tortoise, and the Herman tortoise here is native to southern Europe. So places like southern France and Spain, Italy, the Balearic Islands, that kind of area. So it's nice and warm and humid, and that's why we get him out in the summertime as much as possible here in the gardens, so we can get that vitamin D. He can walk around and find things to eat. We feed him on mostly light salad, but he also has some favourite foods, including strawberries and dandelions as well. He's coming nice and close to the camera right now, to the point where you could almost kiss the lens. There he is. Now the shells there, these little sections are called scutes, and the shell, and I'm just using for reference my hand here, you can see is a fairly small species. The shell there is a living part of the creature. It's full of veins and nerves, and this is why it's very important we keep that shell in good condition, and partly the sunshine helps with that. And it's the only animal that we keep really which is a natural scavenger. So exercise is important. That's one of the reasons we get him out, but we have got to keep an eye on him, because you'd be surprised how quick he can move when he wants to. If you take your eye from that's it, he's disappeared under a bush. So there we go. Donny, short for Donatello, our Herman tortoise. So I'm back here in York in the museum gardens on display, and I'm just going to show off our new banners. We've had a couple of new banners made. This one here advertises the different services we offer and has a bit of information there about the birds on display, the fact that they're sort of in captivity and they fly free and that kind of thing, and a bit of imagery and some logos, of course, about the social media stuff that we have, Instagram there, YouTube, of course, and Facebook. And we have another banner, so if I just go to the front of the display here, you'll see that we have a little banner just at the front here, which is to do with the rescue work that we do, to highlight that work, the non-profit side of the business, if you like, where we take in injured birds of prey and release them back into the wild when they're fit and healthy. And just this week we had a kestrel brought in. In fact, we've had a few kestrels recently. It's been a bit of a common species to release back into the wild, and this one was found clipped by a car. And unfortunately, I didn't have my phone with me to film the release. It was released literally the day after. It had concussion, and off it went into the trees very successfully. It did eat as well in the night when we had it. And I got this message on Instagram asking about the bird, and as you can see, we replied. It's really nice to have these happy endings. Now it's time for another feature we're going to call the Random Question Generator. So in this new section of the weekly video, we're going to answer a question that we often get asked from members of the public and customers. So we put those questions into the question generator, and the first question I'll be answering this week will be the question we get fairly regularly, which is, are the birds on display rescued? And the answer is simply no. The birds we have on display are born in captivity. They're hand-reared by us or other people in some cases, and occasionally the raptors are parent-reared or reared in a certain way, so they're lovely and tame. They are trained to fly free, and of course that way we can use them for school visits and flying shows and other events. The birds we rescue are very much wild birds of prey. They are not in any way hand-reared, and they are naturally very scared of humans. So those ones we handle as little as possible. We never display them, and the aim is to release them back into the wild. So the two are essentially kept very separate. Right, I'm going to get back on with the work today. We've just started, and we've got a lovely summer's day here in York. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time here on the Owl Diary. Thanks.